4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we should be live.
Okay, cool. All righty. Hey. Hey, Gareth, how are you doing today?
I'm fantastic. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. So what we're going to do here is just wait a few minutes just to allow people to, join the webinar, give people some time just in case they're running late.
Yeah.
Looks like we have a few people here in line. For everyone that is joining us live, go ahead and type into the chat box. Tell us where you're from, what you teach. Share a little something about yourself just so we can kill some time here before we get started.
Brian, you're West Coast, right?
Yeah, I'm West Coast. I'm
dark over there already.
Yeah, I'm about 45 minutes to an hour outside of Los Angeles.
And this is natural darkness, not due to smog or fire, smoke.
No, this is natural darkness. It's bedtime.
Nice.
Yeah, got it.
Welcome, everybody.
Yeah. The Midwest, Indiana, nice. Hello from Detroit. We have an elementary special ed science teacher. Hello.
That's
Beth is on. Hello, Beth.
Good
from
evening,
Salinas,
Beth.
California.
Uh-oh.
We have Katie from Superior, Wisconsin. Amy Fowler from Alabama.
If I were going to name my town, I'd name it Superior. That's actually a pretty good way to go.
Definitely.
Let me know if you see anybody from Texas. Where are my Texas people at?
Let's see. We have Massachusetts, New Jersey. Oh, middle of the snowstorm. Yes, that's right. I have family and friends out there right now sending pictures. It looks nice. I know it might not be, but we don't get snow out here in California, really. So
or here in Texas. We get snow days. If it's 34 and it's cold, they're going to call it a snow day, even though there's not a bit of snow.
There you go. Maybe some ice, right? A little bit of freeze. But all right, I think we should be okay. We're a couple minutes in. Let's just go ahead and get started. Once again, hello everyone. I'm Brian. I'm here from Symbaloo, and we have Mr. Gareth Cook on the line, who is our host for today.
How's it going, everybody?
Yeah. Thank you all for joining. For those that have joined us in the past, welcome back. For you that are new here, hello and welcome. Yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. So today, Gareth, Mr. Cook here, will be taking us through Symbaloo. He'll be talking a little bit about Symbaloo as a resource access point, how it's kind of him and how he utilizes that. And from there, we'll be moving forward through to our Symbaloo Learning Paths tool, currently in beta. Some of you may be familiar with the tool, but Gareth is a big Learning Paths user. He uses it for professional development and possibly some other cases, which he'll discuss here shortly. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. And whenever you're ready, Gareth, go ahead and introduce yourself and just get the ball rolling.
Sure. Well, my name is Gareth Cook. I'm a 17th year educator. I did 4th grade for 12 years, and currently I'm an assistant principal. I work in an elementary school. I've always worked in an elementary school. About a year and a half ago, a staff member friend of mine, April Greer, she dared me one day to start a YouTube channel because I was always helping teachers with tech stuff. And I said, you know what, why not? And so earlier this year, Mr. Cook's Corner was born. It's just a labor of love. It's totally for fun. I was hoping to make some side money off of it. Folks at home, YouTube channels are hard and you don't earn a lot of money. So, but it is a lot of fun, and I get to put a lot of videos out there and get to meet a lot of people that I normally wouldn't when I'm just at school. But I love just getting my hands on computers. And ever since COVID's happened, this has been really important to help teachers with communicating with their students online. We've got a lot of hybrid teachers, a lot of virtual and in person, and it's just really crucial now more than ever to just find easier ways to work smarter, not harder. And so here we are. I was just invited. I made a Symbaloo video a couple months ago, and Brian reached out to me and said, hey, let's connect and let's see what we can do together. So this is my first collab, my first webinar, and hopefully we entertain you guys at least a little bit. So let's rock and roll. What would you like to do first?
Let's just go ahead. Let's start a little bit of the background. Yeah, go ahead and share your screen, and yeah, you can just kind of get rolling with Symbaloo, Webmixes, Webspaces.
So what we see here, and let me see if I can get this to zoom in a little bit, because that does look a little tiny. Is it going to let me jam zoom? Let me get in here a little bit. There we go. Hopefully that looks a little bit better on the screen to y'all. We'll go about 125. So what you're seeing here is a sample staff web page. And when I first started using Symbaloo, it was as a classroom teacher. I was in 4th grade, and I had a 1-page Google Doc with some super boring, it was just a list of links. And I would always direct my kids there. And you know what links look like. They're long, they're stringy. It's hard to notice what they actually are. And then I just happened to stumble across Symbaloo and its ability to use this board, as you see, this web mix. And I started just building out a site for kids where they could put all their favorite links. I could put all my academic links to things they needed. We had different boards for different classes, and it just made life easier for everybody. The kids could get to where they wanted on one page. And so as I transfer over to administrative life, I see a need to be fulfilled with the same kind of thing, where as you're looking on this screen right now, I've got my staff web mix going here, where they can come on, and as you can see, it's pretty organized. Symbaloo gives you the ability to color code, gives you the ability to label things. So as you can see, I've got counseling links. I've got my drills and duties for my staff. You've got some extra things over here. I've got schedules of all sorts, COVID things, like we have the health response handbook, our health screeners that we have to do. I've got a section for interventions. I've got a section just for PD stuff for my own staff. And then daily links up here, your lunch count every day, our school announcements, attendance. So I've got everything sectioned off, and teachers can come in and just bookmark this one site. And then when they come on, they get to everything that they need to get within a given day. Brian and I were talking, one of the cool things about this is that the protections are still there. So right now I'm logged into my Mr. Cook's Corner account. And if I click on this RTI letter that's through my school district, you'll notice it just says denied. I can't get in because I don't have access to that because it's got sharing permissions. So the sharing permissions that you do through Google, through other websites, they're still activated through Symbaloo. Now, if I flip over to my Leander account, shout out to Leander ISD, home of where I work, down in Cedar Park, Leander, Texas. Love you guys. This is the same board, and how I'm logged in under my account. And when I click on the link here, my RTI notification letter shows up and I can access it. So that's one really cool, neat thing about that, is that you can insert things into the web mix that is still protected.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point, if you don't mind me interjecting.
Yeah, please do.
I know we get a lot of questions regarding the resources that are shared within a Symbaloo web mix. For example, as you've done, you've created this staff links web mix, and you have a document for your district or your organization. And for the most part, the way that this Symbaloo is set up, or at least our Symbaloo Webspaces, which is how you're sharing, and we'll get to that shortly. When you publish all that, it's public on the Webspace domain. So for those out there that aren't familiar with Symbaloo Pro and our Webspaces, what that means is you'll have a custom domain. Gareth has mrcookscorner.symbaloo.com. You can have your school.symbaloo.com. And what that'll do is basically allow you to share any and all web mixes you've created. There's basically no limit. But if you add links such as a Google Doc or anything that may be sensitive or you may not want to share with others, to the public eye, those settings are still, you can still mess with those settings in the back end via Google rather than through Symbaloo. So we just share out the link. And as Gareth showed, you won't be able to access that unless you're logged in or have access to that document, have been invited to edit or view.
And for those who haven't seen that before, it's really simple. All you do is you can see here, you just click to add a tile. And then if you want, you can just paste in whatever you want. So, and they give you suggestions. Like if I want to paste in Amazon for a link, I can. But if I want to like enter math worksheets, let's just see what pops up. So here's a website right here, math worksheets. I can click on it. And now I've got that link in my grid. It's there, it's ready to go. You can always go in, you can move it, you can drag it around. And if you don't like it, you can just delete it. So for me, when I go in and I click add a new tile, I usually do it. Let me pop on over to my home page. When I add a new tile, it lets me choose. I can view a list. I just paste the URL of whatever I want it to be. Sorry, I was on the wrong one. So if I have a Google Doc or a Google slide or a presentation, I would just paste it here and it would pop in. And then all you're seeing with these pictures is when you go in to edit it. So these are really cute little pictures that I found, and you could just, I just Google clip art. You know, it's like this one's staff PD, right? So I go into edit, and then the picture itself, you can go down here and choose the icon. And so I just went and found a cute little clip art, and then I snipped it to just a square size. And so I think it matches. Like we're the Rattlers, our school's the Rattlers, and so we have Rattler Pride Awards. So you can see kind of attendance has a clock. I mean, it's super artsy fartsy, but you know, I'm kind of OCD like that, so I find it appropriate and kind of neat.
Yeah, and to add to that, this is a great way to personalize your resources, kind of get fun and creative with it. I've seen spliced images of a set of 4, for example, how you have in the top left, it's all one image, but they've cut it into 4 and created something really cool that way. So you can get creative in many ways, you know, as long as you see it fit to whatever you want to put together. But yeah, so that is great. Thank you for sharing that, Gareth. But
yeah, absolutely.
Let's go ahead and move forward. Let's talk a little bit about the web space, actually. Let's talk about that custom domain that you have, and then we can move into the learning paths.
Okay, so before that, so you want to just talk about the mrcookscorner.symbaloo.com?
Yeah, so let's talk about that.
So what I have here, well, let me see where, sorry, this is actually my web page. Mm-hmm. And that's the home. And so when you're on the Symbaloo home page, I have an actual dedicated domain. Brian, if you want to expand a little bit, so you can see here. So we're talking about here, mrcookscorner.symbaloo.com.
Yeah. So that is actually, so what I can do is, let me actually, if you want to give me sharing rights to share my screen, I can share my screen and kind of explain that just a little more.
I'm used to Zoom here. How do I add you on?
There you go. Oh no, you're good. You just need to stop sharing yours, and I will. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No worries at all. So let's see here. Let me make sure that you can see. Here we go. What's going on here? No, I'm having trouble. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second.
Teachers know. The Wi-Fi doesn't work. It's one thing, it's the other. It's sharing the screen.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see what's going on.
Yeah, we're using Jitsi, which is different than Zoom, and I live in Zoom and Google Meet.
Yeah. Okay.
And I can reshare mine if you want to just have me click around.
Yeah, let's go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and reshare yours because it's not letting me actually share.
Yeah, so I'm back on here.
Yeah, so as you see, you have Mr. Cook's Corner at the top. So within the URL bar, you have mrcookscorner.symbaloo.com, and that is part of our Symbaloo Pro account. For everyone watching, this is the account that allows, we have a great feature in regards to content distribution. And making it as an access point. So the custom domain you can create, have your school or your district.symbaloo.com. And as Gareth has Mr. Cook's Corner, you can use this link to set on all of your school devices. So it makes it a great way to access all of your shared resources in a library or from home. At the moment, we have a lot of teachers that are sharing this custom domain for students to access at home. And you can create web mixes with all sorts of resources for homework and classwork and whatever it may be. But this domain here is part of our Webspaces feature where what I was trying to share, which you might not see here, is there will be, for example, you can follow these Webspaces. So we have a few verified Webspaces from our other hosts as well, now including Gareth's, where you can follow their web space and kind of keep up to date with the resources that they're sharing. As you see on the left-hand side where you have the Symbaloo logo, you have a little owl, his name is Simon, and then you have Mr. Cook's Corner, the icon down below. That is that web space navigation bar there. And where that little plus icon is, you don't have to click that, but you'll see additional web spaces add on to that navigation bar once you follow them. And yeah, actually this is great. So when you click on that, we have the additional verified web spaces. So we have Mr. Cook's on the far left. We have Kinder's chat here, who's Matt
So
Gomez.
I just did a search, just like you said. So I clicked on the plus, and then it showed me the available ones, and now I've got access to the Kinder chat. And look
Correct.
how customized that is. Look at these letters. I mean, you could clearly see this is a Kinder page. I love this.
Yeah, definitely. So you can follow these web spaces and keep up to date. Again, re-access these resources. We have Shannon Miller, who shared some really great resources through the Future Ready Librarians web space, and other hosts here that have great content as well. But this is where you can go and follow them. You can either click on that button on the far left within the web space navigation bar, or you can type in the URL in the address bar at the top. So mrcookscorner.symbaloo.com. And you'll see a green button up where the edit webmix, share link, and update changes buttons are at the top. You'll see a follow button there where you can then pin that to your account to follow. But that's more so what I wanted to elaborate on with web spaces and what you can do with those. So again, a great access point for all of your school or district resources there. But yeah, go ahead and take it away. You can move on to Symbaloo Learning Paths.
So the next thing that I I won't say stumbled across, but I learned about was this, we talk about gamification of learning, and it's really one great way to drive engagement with students is to let them learn at their own pace, and to also have that tracked. And so you can monitor and see how they're doing, how long it's taking. I know we have a lot of reading programs out there where, we assign things to kids and they tell us they're done, but we can go back in on the back end and say, hey, you had a 30-minute reading passage and you took you 4 minutes to do it. So this is kind of one of those things as well. It helps you keep track of their data, but at the same time for their end, what you're looking at on the screen here, it's very much like a game board. And the purpose is to start at the home path and work your way to one of the finish lines. And so I started using this originally in my class with just some flexible group projects where when students got to independent work time and you've got your students who get the materials early, so they go off and you differentiate and let them extend their learning with their own independent projects. And then while you sit at your table and you're doing your small groups and you're working with kids one-to-one. And so you've got these pathways set up for kids to where they can go through and work through projects, work through lessons, however you want to set it up. And then as we switch over now, what we're going to implement next year, we're looking at ways to do this from a staff lens with how can we get through professional development now that a lot of us are virtual, now that time is of the essence, but at the same time, we don't have to sit here and do Sage on the stage or guide on the side. We want to make sure that we're giving teachers the ability to work through things the same way that we do with students. And so this is a professional development pathway. And I envision this as something that you would do at the beginning of the year. So the homepage that I envision would be starting off with our employee handbook. And let me see if I can pull this up from the, sorry, I was going to pull it up from not my link.
Yeah, so you can either do it at the webmix or click that preview link up at the top.
There we go.
Little play, but
I was trying to do it from my Leander account so I can see it, but that tile was pulled down. So here's what it looks like as a student, and you would hit start. And so the game board goes away and you're on the first tile. And then this was just for me, it's like employee handbook, and you give it a title and you give the instructions, start here and familiarize yourself with the district book. And then the student would click on the button and here it is. This is our district employee handbook. There's our awesome superintendent, Dr. Gearing. He's a fabulous man. From there, when they're done, they would click the continue button. But at any point, you can click on the game board and see where you are. So right now, this path is determined for you, but you can create pathways to go in numerous directions. So as we go back here, if I were to go to the next section, what I had next was just a Google form saying, once you've read it and acknowledged it, because teachers, out there, you have to do this every year. Now you've got a Google form that I created. You can work inside of it, fill it out, certify that you've done the handbook, and then you move on to the next path. And you can see as you go along, your token moves along the pathway. And so at each step of the way, I have different things. Like here I had our district convocation. So when we look at it here, it's a YouTube link. And so when you make a tile, you can make a tile to a YouTube link. And so all you do is click on the button, hit play, and here we are in the middle of a YouTube link, which was our district convocation. And so in the teachers can, or the staff, whoever's working on it, hits continue, and they work their way through the board. And at any point in time, they can stop and pop it up. So you can see here, I've got like some committee signups, after school duty. I've got the emergency backpacks you get from your class. Then I've got some videos on lockdown, just review of things. But just so you can see, once you get to here and you hit continue, if you have a choice to make and you hit the next section, and again, as you can see here, it's saying I need access because I'm not logged into my district account. So if I were doing this from this account, it would be able to pop up. It's saying I'm signed in as a Gmail, so that's a district firewall. But whenever you have a choice, this screen pops up and it tells you, hey, here's what you need to do. You need to click on the tile where you want to go. And so from there, you would need to make a choice. And this last one I just had, if you're on the math team, you need to head up. If you're language arts, you need to head down. This was a very simple, quick pathway. And the cool thing about these is I can make these tiles and expand them to as large as I want or as small as I want. If I go ahead and cancel that, I'm going to stop tracking so we can edit it. And so at any point in time with this system, you can click on a tile, add a path to it. So as you see, you click here and it gives you the ability. I can go in here and I can edit it. And then it lets you go in and edit each tile. So you give it a title, you can give it a description, you can add the link to where you want it to go. You can even add questions in. So if you want to check for responses to make sure they're following along, you could put in a question like, what did Johnny say at 6:37 in the video? You know, something like that. Or, you know, what's the capital of Texas? Whatever the question may be, put some multiple choice answers in, and you can add that to your tile. Brian, I don't want to seem like I'm rambling. Do you want to cut me off or let me know where I'm at here? Or
No, this is great. Basically, what you kind of jumped over everything here for Learning Path. And just to recap for everyone watching, this is more so a play on the web mixes. It's now just become a sequenced like path where now you can assess your students in real time. So as Gareth has created, he created this sample professional development learning path for his teachers to get them trained. But you can use this however you see fit. Again, for training purposes for your students as an assignment for them to work from home. All of that is completely up to you. You can get creative with it. And we do have templates within Symbaloo Learning Paths. It's more so, it's considered our marketplace, but not to be confused with buying and selling. If you're familiar with the Symbaloo Learning Paths or the Symbaloo WebMix Gallery, it's a similar concept where you can go in and look through different learning paths that have been created by other educators and add those templates to your account and kind of work off of those. I do apologize as I was having trouble sharing my screen. So this isn't, as helpful as it could be, but we do have videos online, not to mention that after this webinar, we'll be sending a post-webinar email with a bunch of resources to help you get started. We have a learning paths manual to help you get acquainted with the tool, how to use it, get set up. And we're also always available to help if you have any questions or want any other demos. So don't feel like you're walking away with no information. You can always message us. We can help you out, and we can always set up demos and things like that. So this webinar was meant to be short and sweet.
And the cool thing is your marketplace here, because I saw that if you're done and you want to make this public, you can publish to the marketplace. And so you can make this public for people to search, but you can also go into the marketplace and search for learning pathways that other people have created, and you can copy them to your board. And so, like I said, I've done videos for, you guys are people out there probably familiar with quizzes and Kahoot, where you go look up quizzes and you copy them and use them in class. It's the same kind of concept here. You can look up, you can look up learning pathways, you can look up web mixes that you can incorporate on your own. So it really is a searchable library. You don't necessarily have to start from scratch. The other point is, once you're done with it, you click this button to start tracking. And when you're finished and you're ready to go, you hit the assign button. and it gives you a link. And so this is how you would use this at home. You can connect with your Google Classroom. You can print QR codes. You can just give a link like this. You can actually make a Symbaloo tile of the actual learning pathway itself. You've got multiple ways to share this and get it out, push it out to your students. At my school, we're really heavy on Seesaw in K through 2 and Google Classroom in 3 through 5. It works both ways. You could drop a link in either or. Students would go in, the link's ready. And as long as it says recording, you can then go in and you can see the user statistics. You can see the students are required to create an account. All they have to do is just insert their first and last name. And from there, or if you have, FERPA rules, you just want to do first name, last initial, whatever, you have students keep track of that. And then you could go in and see the progress that the students have made as they go through this.
Yeah, Gareth, would you mind showing how they would log in, and then also just a little clip of the analytics portion of it? And there's the analytics board.
Yeah, so this is the back end, and unfortunately, we don't have anybody that's done this pathway, but if they did, you would see here, as it says, students, and they would have their names, and the score is just like if you were to assign questions, you could give it an answer key, and so you could insert whatever, but really it's about the progress. So as they progress through these tiles, if there's 10 tiles and they went through 3, their progress would be 30%. It also shows the time spent. And so I wish I had a longer one just to pop on here real quick, but this is just for this one. But as far as sharing it, so if you're ready to share, and I will grab the link. So I'm just going to copy the link. And then if I were to go here into if I pulled up a random web tab and paste it and go into it, oh, I just copied my links. I think I just copied the wrong thing. Let me copy that again. Sorry.
Yeah.
If I were to go here and paste this, there's the learning path. So then as a student, it would just say, please fill in your credentials. And so you would say, like John C, whatever. And then when you log in, here you are in your pathway. And you can see in the bottom left your progress. You can see in the bottom right your steps. You hit start. And now as a student, I can't hop here. I can't go here yet. It's not, you can see it says this tile's not available yet. So as a student, I can't go and hop around. I have to progress through these things in order to get to the finish line. So when I hit start, I literally have to go through these steps in order to go to the next space. So when I look on the board as a teacher, and I realize this should probably take a good hour or 2 hours, when I go to the back end and I look at the results, I should be able to see, here's John C. Look at that. That's live. So John C. is now in progress on the back end, which I think is amazing as a teacher. I've already spent 10 seconds looking on it. So it gives you that timer right there, and it lets you see their progress, how far they've gone. So I think it's just a fantastic tool to just make it fun for kids, but at the same time, keep it simple, stupid. Keep it really easy for you as a teacher to just incorporate on the daily basis.
Definitely. Yeah, those are some good points. Yeah, and as you can see, the built-in analytics tool would definitely be populated once it's all real time when you have your students in there working on it. But I'm glad we were able to capture that just quick little moment after you logged in and showed what it looks like a little further. But yeah, I believe that's all you have to share with us today, right?
Do you want me to show the embed? I could do the embed.
Yeah, actually, let's go ahead and throw the embed in there. If you want to do that, let's show quickly, its purpose, what you can do.
So what we have here, so like if I want to share this, and this is how I did it with my students. A lot of people use Google Sites, and this is just a straight up sample Google site, but some people use Weebly and some people use Blogspot. It all has the same basic thing which is just embedding. And all you have to do with your webmix, and this is what the students love about this, is you just hit share, and then when you look at your options, there's an embed code, and all you have to do is just copy the fancy code, which I don't know how that works. I mean, I'm not a coder, but I know that I can just grab this and copy it. And then if I go into a Google site and just hit embed and I paste the code and I hit insert, it's right here. And so all I have to do now is I just stretch it to the size that I want, make sure it all fits nice and neat. And then if I'm on a Google site, I just hit publish. And now that it's published, when I go to the actual web page, here's my sample site, and here's the Symbaloo. It's right here, it's active, it's ready to go. And so I just have students, or I would have staff, either or, whatever position you're in, bookmark this one spot, and now they've got access to everything. It's really just a much, much prettier way to bookmark all your goodies. So I just wanted to show how easy that was. That's all I wanted to show how easy that was to do, because it really is simple.
Yeah, and as you saw, you can embed that into your school's district site, school site, wherever you see or have access to adding an embedded feature within a website, a page, a blog, whatever it may be, however you share your resources with students or staff. Yeah, you can grab that embed code and share it and paste it onto there. And as you saw, it's pretty simple. So yeah, thank you for showing that. But I believe at this point, I think we're all just about wrapped up. Again, this one was meant to be pretty short and sweet, just to kind of showcase some of the sweet points of Symbaloo, the access resource point, how you can share that and add that custom domain, share it across your channels, your school district, add it as a library homepage for the students to access from also anywhere on any device as well, as long as they have an internet connection. So that was great. And then the learning paths, as everyone saw, you can take the web mixes, the tiles, and the grid a step further and sequence your steps and add questions, embed videos, things like that, and turn it into an assignment. So now you have a real-time assessment tool for you, and you know your students are logging in and actually working, which is a very important point, especially now that we're in this hybrid learning environment and remote learning. You can make sure that your students are logging into an assignment and actually working through it and see how much time they've spent working through that assignment. So very valuable points. But yeah, so Gareth, is there anything you want to share? We are going to end with a short little Q&A. I'll move back to the YouTube page and see if anyone has any questions, and maybe we can address them there. But is there anything you want to share?
I like turtles. No, did I just age myself right there? No. You know, if you guys want to see more, like I said, I'm just small town assistant principal doing my thing. But if you're interested in seeing cool videos like that, I'm at Mr. Cook's Corner. You could go on YouTube and look me up. I got a TPT store. All my TPT stuff is digital. It's book reports. It's small things like that. I don't want to do shameless plugs, but that's about it. You know, come check me out. Send me ideas. What do you want to see? I do a lot of stuff on Google, a lot of focus on that. I just want to help teachers in this crazy world where it's just so much technology nowadays. So let's see some Q&A. I'm excited.
Great. It looks like my colleague Derek was in the background helping answer some questions, and it looks like he addressed a lot of those questions, if not most of them. One of the things that I did want to bring up that's very important, that may also be beneficial for everyone joining us, we do give away professional development attendance certificates for your workshops or whatever it may be. If you need a certificate for the time you spent on this webinar, we can generate that. And yeah, we can get you a copy just so you can submit that and add that to your PD hours. So if you are interested in that, please go ahead and email me at Brian, B-R-Y-A-N @symbaloo.com. I'll have my colleague Derek post that in the YouTube chat here. You'll see the Symbaloo logo there on the side, but it'll be Brian, B-R-Y-A-N @symbaloo.com. Feel free to email me. After the webinar, just keep an eye out for it. We'll be sending an email with more so the recap. You'll see the replay if you want to access it at a later time, or share the link with somebody else so they can take a look at the information that we shared here, along with the learning paths manual to get you started, along with Mr. Cook's YouTube link so you can check those out. He has a lot of really cool, helpful tips and tricks and like techie stuff to help you in school and supplement your learning. So yeah. Keep an eye out for the email. If you have any questions, you can always reach back to us, respond to that email that you get. We do have a support page on Symbaloo where you can just email us if you have any questions. But yeah, thanks again. Thank you all for joining. Thank you, Gareth, for sharing. Thank you for your time. It was great. And yeah, thank you guys for joining. And we'll catch you all on the next webinar. Keep an eye out.
Stay safe and sanitize those hands, everybody. Mask up.
Definitely. Take care, everyone. Bye. Okay. I believe we should be done here.